Alright, thanks for joining me. Today is Thursday, Butt-tober 11th, 2018, and we're going to get into the Butthole Surfers' third album with Capitol Records. In my opinion, probably their most well-known, at least in my circle of people I was around, just because of our age, and that was the time we were growing up, and this was on the radio every day. But the album we're going to get into a little bit today is Electric Larryland. I'll go ahead and show you the photo as if you don't already know what that looks like. But you never know. Maybe you haven't seen this one. Maybe you've heard all the other ones except for the most popular, famous one. Crazy guy on the back with the clouds. Fun stuff. Oh, that's awful. Don't look at that. Crazy squirrel on the inside. Fun with art. Always having fun with art, they were. But yeah, so the first two albums on Capitol were produced by John Paul Jones, and when they got to Electric Larryland, Paul Leary, the guitarist, was actually the producer for this album, and that's kind of important, just because Leary went on to produce several other rather big-named other bands. Became, as I understand it, somewhat sought after as a producer, and I'm trying to think. I know he produced an album by Sublime, Daniel Johnston, Reverend Horton Heat, I believe, and another one of my favorite bands, the Meat Puppets. He actually produced two of their albums. Their biggest album that they did, Too High to Die, he was the producer on, as well as one that came a few years later called No Joke. But yeah, he went on to do some producing. We'll get more into the Meat Puppets when Meat Puppet March comes around. But today we've got we're going to do this album in chunks too. We're going to do the first 4 tracks off of Electric Larryland today. The first one is called Birds. This one starts off good and rocking. This album, it has a more sort of professional sound. And by professional, I don't mean like experienced professional. I mean more like suit and tie business professional, maybe. It just sounds a little bit cleaner, but it's still as dirty as ever. So I don't know. Maybe Mr. Leary had something to do with that, but possibly why it was popular at the time. Who knows? Hard to say. You listen, you be the judge. Let me know. But Birds, great song, kicks off, rocks real good. They definitely didn't lose any of that driving rock and roll sort of feeling that they had from Independent Worm Saloon. There are some slower tracks on here, but it's all got a good groove to it. Rockin' stuff. Second song is called Cough Syrup, another great one where Gibby asks us all the question that we've all been wondering, and I hate cough syrup, don't you? I think we can all probably agree to that. Great song. And then obviously the single, Pepper. You've heard this one probably a million times. I've heard it. It's been in movies and just about anywhere. It was on the radio at least 2 or 3 times a day when I was a kid, which is kind of what introduced me to the Butthole Surfers. An odd story to that note. I was at some hippie festival in West Virginia 10 or 12 years ago, and I don't remember who was playing exactly at the time. Some investigating has led me to believe it was probably Keller Williams and then probably 10 or 15 other people on stage. But I'm at this hippie festival, they're playing jam music, and suddenly they started playing Pepper. And that just totally knocked my socks off, because that is the last song that I expected to hear at a jam band music festival. So very cool. The Butthole Surfers get around to everyone eventually. And the last song we're going to do today, track 4, is called Thermidor, and another driving song. I had something to say about that one, and I can't remember what it was now, so I don't know. I think you're going to really enjoy these. You've probably heard them all before, maybe not, maybe you just know the single, but give them another listen today. And as we're trying to go deeper into the music, even on Pepper, listen to the music. Listen to how it's really built up. Listen to all the finer makings that make the song what it is. Because there is a lot that goes into it. It's, even though it's the popular song and the one that was kind of the hit single or whatever, try and listen to what all went into making that happen. So. And again, we have a Reddit thread up and going. I'd love to hear your comments, thoughts, suggestions, whatever. Maybe you got a cool story about the Butthole Surfers you'd like to share with us all. We'd love to hear it. I'll show you that address as we go out, and yeah, we'll see you all tomorrow.